Psalm 40. Now, I don't know about you, but I love a good testimony, a good story of how God has worked in someone's life, which is why I love Psalm 40. Psalm 40 is a psalm penned in a moment of distress, but it's also a psalm about the amazing transforming power of God and the transforming power of the stories that result from his activity and the power of passing on those stories. Let's read. We can't read the whole thing, but let's read in verse 1. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, who does not look to the proud, to those who turn aside to false gods. Many, Lord my God, are the wonders you've done, the things you've planned for us. None can compare with you. Were I to speak and tell of your deeds, there would be too many to declare. Jump to verse 9. I proclaim your saving acts in the great assembly. I do not seal my lips, Lord, as you know. I do not hide your righteousness in my heart. I speak of your faithfulness and your saving help. I do not conceal your love and faithfulness from the great assembly. What the psalmist is describing here is this incredible story of God's transforming love and the power of sharing that story. What I want us to do, there's so much we could cover in this psalm, but I want us to zoom in on verses 1 to 3. And it starts in the slimy pit. I love that image. Not just a pit, the slimy pit. And David's there in the mud and mire. And what does he do? He waits patiently. I waited patiently for the Lord. Now I'm struck by that because it seems to me, it seems to David, the alternative in verse 4 is to look to the proud, to turn aside to false gods. That's to say, the alternative to waiting patiently is to contrive his own quick fixes to get out of that situation. But David waits patiently. On the face of it, it may seem stupid, but David waits patiently. He waits patiently for God. Why? Because he knows that is the only way that he's going to be able to invite God into his story and see this incredible transformation that God wants to bring. So David waits patiently for the Lord. And I'm challenged, when I'm in the pit, in the slimy pit, do I wait patiently? Or do I turn aside to false gods, quick fix solutions to get me out of whatever situation I'm in? But in doing that, actually deprive God of writing this beautiful story in my life. So as I'm just led to just pause there and reflect, how do I respond in the pit situations of my life? David sees his patience rewarded. Verse 1, he turned to me and heard my cry. And then he lifted me out of the slimy pit of the mud and the mire. But even more than that, he's then set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. It's like, as I read these verses, I'm hearing David saying, God did above and beyond what I could even ask or imagine. I'm reminded of that verse, God is able to do more than we can even ask or imagine. It seems to me that's what happens in David's life. And I wonder if you can relate to that when you've been asking God for stuff, asking him to help you with something. Has he gone above and beyond? And maybe this is just a prompt to just pause and give thanks for that, to recognize, acknowledge, oh yeah, when I was asking you, God, for that, you really went above and beyond, and just to give him thanks and praise. He is the God who goes above and beyond. And David sees his patience rewarded. He's his feet are put on this rock, this firm place to stand. But even then, God's not done with him. God puts a new song in his mouth, a hymn of praise. Why? Is this David just singing because he's happy? Well, yeah, but it seems to me it's more than that, because this is a song that God is putting in his mouth. And we see what happens as a result. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. It's like David believes that through this captivating and beautiful song that God has put in his mouth, many people are going to see and put their faith in him. People are going to come to faith through David's story and through hearing his song. I just love that God uses David's little personal testimony to bring many to faith. I don't know about you, I need to just remember that. Sometimes you might think, God works by revealing himself directly to other people, but so often he wants to use me, he wants to use you, he wants to use our little stories to bring many to faith. What if God did that in your life? So I'm challenged by verses 9 and 10. I proclaim your saving acts in the great assembly. I do not seal my lips. Do I actually seal my lips? Do I Do I hide his righteousness, hide his love from other people by not sharing, by not first of all allowing him in, giving the space, waiting patiently, but then also not sharing the stuff that God has done in my life, not allowing him to show forth that incredible, beautiful, captivating song of praise and thanks. So this is how I'm led to pray Psalm 40. I want to give you the space to read it through, to ponder. But I guess the two questions I'm asking myself are, am I giving God the space to come in and write a beautiful story with my life? Or am I turning to quick fixes? But then actually, are my lips at his disposal? When I remember the things that he's done, are my lips at his disposal to share the incredible stories that he's done in my life? And then to pray that other people will see and hear through the ways that he's acted in my life. So there you go, Psalm 40. Have a good read and pray. God bless.